recording?
Yeah, we were recording.
I took those fucking plastic bottles to the supermarket. And
How many did you take?
I took all of them. I took them in a bag. And I was like, oh, hi, I got these plastic bottles. And they went, yeah. And I was like, there's some kind of recycling scheme in Ireland. And they went, yeah. And I put them on the counter. And I was like, what?
Oh, you brought them?
I took them with me, yeah. Because I was like, well, it's 15 cents each, isn't it?
But did they take them back?
They went, and there's a queue behind me. They went, no, we don't do that here. That's a big supermarket.
It's a machine. You got to put it in a machine.
Like, there's a big
did you
supermarket.
give it to a person?
Yeah, because I said, oh, you've got some recycling scheme. And they
So he walks out with all these empty plastic bottles.
I had to cross the street then with like paper bags full of plastic bottles and put them in the thing. And I looked,
Oh, you did it?
Yeah, no. I'm saying I did it in a public recycling bin then.
Right.
Outside that coffee shop. And they were all watching me as I like, unloaded these 2 bags of plastic bottles one by one.
Did you get paid for it?
No, that's
No,
what I mean.
because you didn't put it in a machine.
No, but you can get those recycling machines that you pop them in and they give you money for them and then they crush them inside.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So I went to the supermarket expecting that, and I was like, "You got this recycle?" They went, "Yeah," and I was like, "Great." Like that, I was like, "What do we?"
Here, give me my money.
Yeah, give me money off the lemsip.
Dude, I used to work in a supermarket when I was 16, and my job was in the drinks section. So I was behind the machine. So there's a little dirty door, and then there's just they put the machine in, and then it goes on a like little band, and I was in the back. I was in the back putting the bottle because they didn't crush them. So I would have to put the bottles in those little things. That was my first job ever, just collecting dirty bottles, going like this. So I developed my sleight of hand.
So you got your dexterity,
bro.
Yeah.
Did they? No, they did crush the. No, I'm lying. They did crush the plastic ones, but all the dirty like beer ones or the hard plastic, bro, it was a nightmare of a job. It's terrible. 16 years old, fucking sorting out bottles, just dirty beer bottles. Oh God, it's horrible.
I can just imagine you doing that.
Actually, it was a pretty good time. I should go back there.
Guys, it's a better job than this.
I'm out of here. I don't need this.
I used to work in a menswear store when I was 16.
I can see that.
Selling people like shoes and stuff and suits.
Is that where you developed your...
My customer service skills, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got 200% mystery shoppers. You know, they send people in.
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. I got 100% score twice, and they gave me 200 quid bonus each time.
Nice.
And yeah, it was like people would come in, they'd pretend, they'd give like a backstory, but you could tell because like normal Welsh people would come in, they go, "All right, mate." You go, "Yeah," and you go, "I just need some jeans." And you go, "Yeah, okay. What size waist do you?" And then you give it to them. They'd be like, "Cool." A mystery shopper would come in, they'd like look as shady as possible. You go, "Can I help you?"
Because they're not actors, are they?
They're not actors. They're real
normal
people
who've signed up for it.
Yeah, and then they go, "Hi, my sister Margaret is dead, and I have to go to her funeral.
Right.
And it's on Thursday next week." And you can just see them thinking of this.
I need some cargos.
It's a fake backstory. I need a suit. And I'm like, "Okay, have you got shoes as well? Like, what color shoes?" I don't have shoes, and they get all the clothes for free as part of the scheme.
Oh.
So you can always tell.
I've also got a party next week.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Maybe I'll get some.
So they go, and then you like offer. You go, "Oh, this belt will go with this, but it's reversible." And they go, "Great!" And you like see them like fucking in their own brain. You're like, "Oh, I know you're a standout mystery shopper."
I'm gonna trick the trickster.
Yeah. And at the end of it, they're like, "Can I get the receipt?" And you're like, "It's in the bag." And they're like, "Okay, great." And you're like,
God.
And then at the end of it, you're like,
And did they go? 100%.
No,
Like
no.
you walked out and they gave you a little.
You just get like a letter like this. Well, this is how old it was. It's like when I was 16. So they'd send a letter to the store, and in the letter then the business would give you 200 quid as a bonus. So I fucking loved it. I loved the mystery shopper.
I wonder if they've ever done that for like a magic shop, like back in the day. Did they have mystery shoppers in a magic shop?
No, it's only big corporate companies that do it. They send them in to make sure that people are doing their jobs, upselling.
What would it be
I
like?
used to get them working for Sky, like selling
Yeah.
Sky TV on the streets. And we used to do, but I used to do my pictures with magic.
Yeah.
So I used to do, what's the trick called with, they changed lottery tickets into
Oh, Extreme Burn.
Extreme Burn.
Richard
2.0.
Sanders.
Oh yeah, I used to, so I used to have, funny enough, the contracts, they used to have the list of different packages, but they were long and they were about the same
Yeah.
size as a note.
Yeah.
So I made those into, and I was talking through all the packages, and I was like, and you could save loads of money. Mate, the amount of people you used to get with that sort of shit.
Dude, I used to sibble with gift cards. So I'd be like going around the
Oh, did
store
ya?
with like Burton's menswear gift cards
So good.
like this. And then people would walk in, I'd be like, oh yeah, how can I help? And they'd go, whoa, that's cool. And then, oh mate, I practiced so much on the tills while you
Really?
just waited like this.
I always hid the magic. I always didn't want anybody to know I practiced magic, did magic.
Yeah.
Because
You're quite limited because you're like, I got a brown bottle, I got a green bottle.
yeah, I mean,
Pick a bottle.
Yeah, actually, back there, I could have practiced it, but in general, like I never told any of my friends that I did magic. Like my mom knew and my sister knew. No one else knew. And then I don't know. I could have not done it. I would have been scared if they come up to me. It's like, oh, what do you do there? Show me a trick. I was petrified of the idea of someone asking me to show them a trick.
I was the total opposite, because when David Blaine's TV specials first came out, that's when I was like, oh my God, got my dad to videotape it for me, and I'm watching it and watching it. I didn't know there was a whole magic community, didn't know there was magic shops.
Wait, are we recording this?
Yeah.
This is it?
Yeah.
We're just going into it.
Yeah, we're in it.
It's not even on.
You're breaking the
They're all
fourth wall, mate.
Hold on, let me check. That's on.
I just didn't even think we were starting yet.
Oh, I broke the... Now the fourth wall is broken.
Oh yeah, they are. Oh,
They're all on. Okay.
They're all on.
So you discovered the magic community.
Yeah, no, not at this time. So I watched the David Blaine tape so much. I kind of worked out for myself.
Yeah.
But it was, I was making up the methods in my head, like the double lift and everything.
Okay.
And honestly, at one point when I was like 13, 14, I thought, oh my God, there's only me and David Blaine in the world who could do this.
Yeah.
I guess I never didn't know anything else. I'd seen all the, like Penn and Teller when I was a little bit younger, on TV, and David Copperfield, blah blah blah. But close-up magic like that, never seen it before. And I had no fear. I used to go to the pub with my dad.
Really?
I'd be in the corner, and there'd be like grown men like crowded mind watching these tricks.
I see that though. I can imagine that with you.
And it didn't faze me. I loved it.
Oh wow! No, it's
Nothing scared me. It was only when I got into the magic community that.
Why? Why did it scare you when you got into that?
No, it didn't scare me, but I started doubting myself.
Why?
I don't know. Probably negative shit online that you see.
So people were saying negative things.
Not about me, but it was like people are very critical online.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit. And then you start sort of critiquing yourself then, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it
That's
just it
interesting.
changed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to be fucking fearless.
Oh man, I honestly I'm still nervous when every single time, like yesterday, when I walked up to this rowdy group of Americans and British people, whatever. And there's literally, I think we caught it on camera. This one girl calls me out. She goes like, are you shaking?
Which one do you want the six to be? This one or this one?
He's shaking.
No way.
Yeah. My left hand was literally, I was like this. Because I was holding one card.
What, nervous or cold or what?
Yeah.
I think it was more nerves than, I had that cappuccino, had this terrible performance with these like two guys, which were lovely people, but it just like, there's no reaction. It's just, how it goes. They were like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then you set up this one other big group, which seemed, like you said, really into it, walked over, and then there was just this one girl who was trying to be the star of the show. We just didn't feel the vibe, right? And then
yeah.
I was a bit like, oh God, because you want that first performance out of the way. Ideally, it goes smoothly because you hope that sets the tone, right? Because it will affect you. I'm pretty good at like letting it be, whatever. And then the third performance was basically that big group. And it was you were like, just do it, go. Because I was like setting up and I was killing time, talking myself, not out of it, but like just being like, just go. And then I just walked up, and I noticed I did have cold hands, but I was also shaking. And she said it, just like, "Are you shaking?" And then those 3 girls laughed. And I was like, oh, God, that was terrible. I was like, these fucking girls are making fun of me.
Did you get right inside your own head then?
In that moment, I started, because then I was like, I am shaking. I didn't notice I was shaking.
Yeah.
Or I thought they couldn't tell, but because I was like, I don't know what.
I wonder if you can see it on camera.
I probably you can. Like, I don't know what trick it was. Maybe French kiss or whatever the first trick was. And I was holding the card. I was literally like this. You could see it move. And then I didn't pick it up. I just thought like, oh, I'm just moving. And then she said it, and I was like, God. But the point is, like, I'm like, that never went away. That like, not the fear that I've had performing. I've done it too many times now. But like, I really have to get over that mental hurdle at first.
Now.
No way! No! That happened! That was no way! That was pretty cool.
You did it. And I'm shaking. Look at that.
You know?
Yeah, I think
and
that's
I've always
important.
had that. I've never been like you. Like, just fucking...
No. Yeah, no.
You know, I've always been like, oh, God.
That was only when I was
Yeah.
younger that I was fearless, and I didn't know about, because I just did it. But definitely getting older, you do sort of question yourself a bit more.
I think we call it fluffing, don't we? So it's
Yeah.
like behind the scenes. You're like, do you want me to go fluff them for you?
Yeah.
Fluffing a pillow.
Yeah.
Like, do you want me to go warm them up for you?
Yeah,
And in my own brain, if I don't walk over within 3 seconds, I'm not gonna walk over. I'll find
Yeah.
excuses not to. So like,
Yeah.
I know you get annoyed and you get annoyed because you're like, we're not even mic'd up.
Yeah.
But I'll go, how about them? And you go, yeah, they'll be. And I'm already gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh hey, sorry to interrupt.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I won't question it again.
Yeah. So then you like yesterday in front of that bar, I knew they were going, and they were like, oh, we want to see something, and they were so open to seeing tricks. So then I'm talking. I'm like, okay, I don't want to start doing tricks and not get any of the footage because we need to show people. So it was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything until they're ready. And then I look over and I just see your face, and you're like, I get it. Yeah, all right, cool. And then I can hear them. They're going, should we go to the next bar? And they're like, oh, well, let's just wait for this trick first. And I go, Dwayne, and you go like this. And I was like, no, I get you're not ready, mate, but hurry the fuck up. Because,
I was.
yeah, which is a very different vibe. And maybe that's something as well. It's like when we're filming it, when we need to get the footage versus when we're just casual, there's a very different energy approaching people.
Yeah.
If you're casual, there's a lot more of like conversation there coming to you.
Yeah.
It's very natural and slow. But when it's on camera, it's like, okay, are you recording? All right, great. Is the mic on? Test, great. Hey, do you mind being on camera? Are you okay with this? And it's like, it feels very unnatural.
It changes everything, not just for us. It changes them as well. Like some people, not like I've never had anyone say like, no, don't film it. Like almost every group that we've approached, like they go like, yeah, it's fine, because it's so nowadays like everything is being filmed, right? But I do think it does change some people's, because some you can see they completely ignore the camera, which is great, right? I think personally. But then there's people who, address it. We've had a few, especially men I've noticed, they like, because they don't know exactly how to react to magic.
Yeah.
Some are just, we as guys, I think we like all
Those
over.
French guys. It was for
yeah.
you. It's like, he did the reveal and he's like, da-da. And the guy turns over, he goes, and instead of addressing Yannick with the reaction, he went, wow, it's magic.
Yeah. That's
tricky.
That's very tricky. Very
tricky.
good. And then as soon as the cameras
It
are
looks
off,
so fake.
he talks to me and asks about the trick, and his genuine reaction comes out, which is like 5 minutes delayed. But he's like, but how did you? I don't get that, And I was like, obviously you can't teach them. You want to, like, that's been the whole goal. Like, I think with every shoot that we do, but I think especially here we said like just authentic, like genuine. That's why we're in Ireland.
I think it's
like,
down
it's
to
real as it gets.
I think it's down to just the person, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
It's like, if they're introvert, they're not going to sort of be big brash reactions, and they react differently. It might not be big and loud, but but then again, if they're just depends how they sort of think. Like, I'm very like no, who was the guy, the Scottish guy we were talking to yesterday, the first bar we went to?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Colin.
in the cardigan.
Colin. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could tell he was a
logical thinker.
Logical thinker.
Yeah, he does
Yeah.
software
and
engineering
he
and
was
stuff.
trying to, like, he didn't give a great reaction, like loud or
Yeah.
anything, but he was very impressed.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell he was trying to work it out, and it all depends on the type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, he saw me load his friend with a card as well.
Oh, did he?
And then we left because we were doing the other group that was like, they were leaving quickly. So we're like, okay, we'll come back to you guys. Went over there and I'm like, okay, we still got that guy loaded with a card.
It was under his seat, like he was sitting on the
he
card,
was
right?
sitting on top of the card.
Yeah.
And when I walked over there, that guy, Colin, was trying to psych force his friend. So he's like, because he knew it was under there.
Yeah.
So then he's like, hey, think of a card, because we left the King of Diamonds with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, think of a card like this, but not this one.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to get his mate, and the guy's like, 5? And he's like, no, not a 5.
Yeah.
But you can see he was trying to add 2 and 2 together to see
Yeah.
if he could come up with 4 like us, and he came up with like 7. He's like,
Yeah.
But he was still
trying to back work how to
exactly, he's trying to
cause it.
backtrack.
funny though. His reaction of his friend of having the Jack of Hearts under his butt was the best reaction the guy gave.
Yeah.
Because I saw it. We were with the other group, but I saw him going like, what? Because, you know, they know each other, they're friends, cameras are off, and I was like, what just happened? But I think that's the fun part, right? It's like, you want, obviously on camera, like, we're so used to like chasing that Goldilocks reaction, right? That scream, that, oh my God, people running away. But I don't mind, like when I'm performing, like gigs, no cameras. Like I love, especially doing it in Germany, I don't get screaming reactions. So I'm so
Germany's
used to
tough.
people being very, very, quiet. But they go like, they're like this. It's a long reaction. It really takes a while. They look at the card, see like this, you see them shake their head. They're going through all the stages. So I'm used to not getting the screams, but obviously on camera, it changes for me as well as a performer, and I'm sure for you as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's no right or wrong reaction. I like them all in a weird way,
yeah.
and that's the fun part about performing.
I find it hard to take the compliment when the reaction is deeper. So we were in that whiskey bar, and when we were doing that single-handed trick, and the guy, he was with his missus that he'd been with since December. So what's that? 3 months. So it's a very new relationship. And I think we got it on camera. I don't know if we can cut it in, but like he like leant in to me after the trick's over, and he's like, mate, honestly, that's blown my mind. He's like, I feel like a kid again. He's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I remember that. I was like, second best thing. And she could overhear it. She's like, what?
Yeah.
That is fucking class. Mate, cheers to you. That is the best evening I've ever had in my life.
Just waiting for a rig.
Yeah, she's wait. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
but that was a fantastic. That was great.
But he was like, that wasn't necessarily like a whoa, but that was a longer, like he was
You could
massively
tell
affected.
it hit him. Yeah.
Yeah, his brain was just
At
exploding.
the end, his brain was like, I think it was you who said it, right? You said, because then I was doing a few tricks, and by that time, his brain, like you could have not destroyed him anymore.
Yeah.
Like he peaked. He
Yeah.
peaked in terms of reaction and everything, because he's like a physicist, right? Very logical person. And he said, I never believe in anything like that doesn't make sense logically. And I was like, I believe, like, you changed my, he literally said it like, you, obviously a little bit exaggerating, but I was like, changed my whole worldview.
Yeah.
And then, but like, what do you say to that, right? It's
Well,
like,
exactly.
it's-
So I'm like, oh,
right?
thanks, mate.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know, is it even a compliment? You know, in a way it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know what you mean. It's like,
I work a lot to like not buy my own hype as well, because I see how it affects people's egos when everyone's telling you that you're the fucking best. You're the best. Oh my God, you're the best.
Yeah.
And they gloss over themselves. So you go like, what do you do? And they go, oh no, I work for the medical company, and I do admin. Anyway, that's the coolest thing. You guys got the coolest job. And you're like, you're trying to take a step back and give them some interest and develop them and bring them up, and they're putting themselves down and they're putting you up there.
Yeah.
It's very hard to like balance that out then.
Yeah.
So I prefer a reaction where they have a bit of banter, where they, oh, you got me there. Oh yeah, and I got no clue, mate.
Yeah.
And like I prefer that more muted reaction because like it's like, oh, he realizes we're just having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
It's when the people say, my brain's mush, it's melted. I'm rethinking my entire life, and I'm like, okay.
It's that deep, okay?
Yeah.
But
It's amazing how just a couple of card tricks can affect somebody like that.
I mean, in New York, that guy, I will never forget that. Like that guy, like actually crying. Like he wasn't like tearing down, but you know, the guy that we just randomly stopped and Ben was doing ambitious for him, and then he
You
did.
talking about the one on the phone?
Yeah, one on the phone.
Yeah.
And he was like, at the end, he was actually teary. Like you could see, like through the whole performance, like a 10-minute thing, like everything changed for him, right? And it's like, what? But you saying like you don't know, like maybe some people don't want it to be about them at that point, and they enjoy that. They don't want to talk about them being accountants, or like they might actually really just want to talk about this and experience this,
Like
and have this.
escapism.
Maybe it's not even that deep, could be, but maybe they just, you know, like they because magic is so rare, you know, especially like good magic. Most people have never even seen a live magician. Most people that I asked after performing, have you ever seen it? No, not at all. You know, so they don't obviously have a reference point. But like yesterday, we did it for a group, and a guy was trying to tell his girlfriend, it's like, you got to see this, trust me. And she was not into it. She was like, I guess so. She saw the cards and like, all right. And then like 5 minutes later, she's like, I don't know, the cameras were rolling. It's like, I thought this was going to be terrible. I didn't know this was possible. And it changed, you know, so people don't have a reference point, and maybe.
I think the other thing that pays into that as well is like when you're out on the street, like how many times do we get interrupted by buskers, by people begging, like, and I think when we go over and you're like, can I show you a card trick? I'm telling you, the F word is the fucking best thing ever. You say, it's free, and they go, okay.
Yeah.
Like they completely change. You're like, hey, we're out here, we're filming for YouTube. Is it okay if we show you a magic trick? And they go, oh, no. And you go, no, it's free.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
I think in big cities, busking, street performing, there's an expectation of money. Mm-hmm. And I think as soon as you take that away and you say, oh, it's free, it's like people are like, oh yeah, sweet.
But you know, we're never in that sort of street performer spot. You know, where it's like it's a spot for street performers. They're always in like a doorway.
But a lot of times they're licensed, right? They have to be at these spots.
But we're not stood in a doorway waiting for people to come past. We're like right in the heart of it, like in the bars and stuff.
It's crazy.
And people will see or hear a reaction, and they're like this.
Yeah.
And you know, how many people did we meet last night? Like, and it was like we became like a massive group of friends.
Yeah. Probably like, when did we get there? 3 o'clock? I remember 3, but it was, sometimes you hit that, don't you? It's like one group's reaction is so bold and over the top that the next group looks and they want something.
And then
bring
the
next
friends
group,
over.
yeah, and then the next group. And like, I was approached last night multiple times of people saying, hey, my other friends have turned up.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you guys
They were
come and
bringing
show
people to
us?
us.
So many people.
Yeah. And then the people from across that aren't even in the bars, like, what's going on? It's just, that's the fun bit, right? Like, that's the cool thing about magic as well. It's like, just it is cheesy, but just like, you just make friends.
Even
like,
people,
with strangers,
even
you know?
people, even that big table in the bar next door. Mm-hmm. We had to go around to the next pub.
Yeah.
So what are they going? And by that time, I was so like, I literally just sat down, and I just hear you go. So yeah, this guy is a magician. And I'm like, oh,
no. They. What happened was, and again, this is hard for people that don't perform with cameras. But when the camera's out and they see you in the corner doing something, they see the camera. The amount of people that like ask me if you're famous. So they go, is he famous?
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah. So then I go, what? And they're like, is he famous? I'm like, he's a magician. And they go, oh, great. So then I have to come over to you and say, oh, that table's interested in seeing something now.
Yeah.
It's like the attention that the camera gets.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, what are they filming over there?
Yeah.
And it looks professional because
Get the
you're there with the
lights.
light and the microphones. It's like, okay.
No, I get it. It's like, I mean, that's why we're there, obviously, as well. So even better that they come up to us, right? It
Yeah.
makes our life much easier. Like, that's half the battle right there. But still, it's just in that moment, it's just sat down. And just, well, that's the snowball effect, right? It's like you don't even realize. We were probably next to each other the whole time.
There was a couple of hours though, of, it was just intense, like just people constantly, but like, show us a trick.
Yeah.
And it was like cameras out, whether it was our phones or whatever. And it was just,
And I forgot everything. I was just like, oh God, I don't know what trick. I was like just
Yeah.
repeating the same, like back to basics. Like we're obviously here shooting projects and tricks that we're gonna, put out. And we've done all the performances for that. And then yesterday it was just like, all right, double lift, double lift, double lift, double lift, double lift.
There is something interesting. That one guy dropped my gaff deck. I'm not going to say what the gaff is, but he dropped it. And then you had a guy who was shuffling yours. And as he's shuffling, the gimmick went. Do you remember?
Yeah, the one cut.
Literally, it was like the gimmick's like, like that. And so he's like shuffling it along and he messes up the shuffle and it's like that. And just one gimmick inside the entire deck and it's there.
Yeah.
And then you're like, and then
I
you look at
looked
me.
you.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God. But he's so engaged then, he just went like that, didn't he?
Do you know the amount of times that gimmick, which is just normal, like it's a single card, right? There's something special about it. That gimmick just lives in the deck, just great. But the amount of times I'm doing tricks not using that gimmick, and I take the deck, and it's right on the face, or they shuffle it and it drops out, or it's the one card I took out and say, which I know is the wrong one, and it's the gimmick again. It's like constantly, it's like the universe telling me like,
It haunts you.
yeah, it's like, this is a good gimmick, man. It's a good idea. It's like, great. No, it's,
I learned a lot last night about audience management of like, there's a point of drunkenness. And obviously it's St. Paddy's Day weekend. So it's
today is St. Patrick's Day as we're filming.
But yesterday, Ireland won the championship for the rugby. So it was also a big day.
Yeah.
So, God, I mean, I think people were obliterated by like 10 p.m. They were out drinking from 12, weren't they?
yeah.
So I learned like,
We were sober, obviously.
yeah, but you gave people, you go, okay, you got these 5 cards like that, and you give it to them, and you're like, I want you to mix those up. And then they're like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're like, wait, what? Oh, come over here. And you're like, wow, this is too much.
So that's what we realized is like, all right, stick to the basics.
I'm going to hold the cards.
Yeah.
Ambitious card.
Yeah. When you do 2-card Monty and you're like, ace of spades, put it in their hand. It's like, so what card is this? They go, yeah, the ace of spades. It's like, have a look, right? They turn it over. It is the ace of spades, and they react. Whoa!
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, wow, this is going to go great.
That guy did that. The,
yeah. It's like,
Oh, dude, that
in the
happened
whiskey
to me
bar.
twice last night as well. It's
Yeah.
that I just, obviously, 2-card Monty is a great opener, and it's like a proposition bet. It's like a good opener. So I did it, and I go, okay, just for practice, what card do you think you're holding? And they think there's like an expectation that even though I've shown them the ace of spades, even though I placed it in their hand, they go, oh, it's got to be any other card.
yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool. Turn it over, and it's the ace of spades. I go, oh my God. You're like, well, I just gave it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you take it, right? Any reaction you can get, you're like, oh, this is going to fry your brain. But yeah, it is all, I mean, it's crazy, right? Like after all these years of performing, you still learn every single time. Like especially as we're like developing new tricks or working on new routines, as we are like doing it now, it's like, there's no better learning curve. The things that we think might work when we come up with a trick in our bedroom and we call about it and we do it for other magicians, and then reality hits when we go out there and it's like, can you take these cards and mix them up behind your back? Which, sounds like a reasonable thing that anyone should be able to do. And magicians, no problem. And then you give it to a layman and it's like, yeah, this doesn't work. Put the cards in your pocket. It's not as easy you might think. It's like we just learn.
Yeah, that's really like interesting. That's one thing that's for us, and pays into the fact that like you develop a trick and you try it out and you test it and you tweak it. But with pocket roulette, which we're filming here, when we did that for magicians in Blackpool, you shuffle. Okay, we're gonna cut the cards. We're gonna take 5. I'll show you 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're holding them. Take a peek. Mix them behind your back. Put them in your pocket face down. You can't take. And it went flawlessly.
Yeah. And
All
it
the
takes a
theory.
minute, maybe.
Yeah.
Tops.
All the theory, all the nuances are perfect. Complete magician fooler.
Yeah.
You get here and you go shuffle the deck, and they go like this. They go,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay. Now I'll shuffle. So now you go, okay, look, we'll just give these a shuffle. We just need 5. You cut the deck,
Yeah.
and then they're all arguing. I want to cut. I want to cut. Okay. Maybe the next performance. Okay, look, we're gonna shuffle these. We give them a cut. Doesn't matter what cards we're using. We'll just take these 5.
Yeah.
You hold on to those, and like, how many?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, yeah, 5. Count 5. Okay, 5. And then someone else will shout something.
Yeah.
Wait, do we need 5? Yeah, it's 5. And you're like, oh, okay, right. Now, I'm not even going to bother counting. I'm just going to say a bunch of cards.
Yeah.
Look, put those in your hands, and you make tiny little tweaks.
Yeah.
At the end, it's like, oh, and they can't shuffle. Can they?
Yeah.
Like normal people can't shuffle. It's like that.
Except if you give cards to an American, they go like, yeah, I can shuffle, don't worry about it. They just do like
Yeah.
anti-pharaohs and whatever. You're just like, yeah, I can shuffle a little bit. And they're like, great, this is going to be great. And then you tell them, take them behind your back, and it's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, a magician trick and a spectator trick are 2 different tricks, aren't they?
because magician, it is like, it couldn't, there's night and day. Like, even us realizing, like, even though it does work, but for the environment that we're in right now, which is really, really tough, there's like, as we said, like street tricks, and probably wouldn't consider pocket roulette a street trick.
Yeah.
It does work, and it did work, and we've got footage of that, but it requires a lot of audience management. And if you're not comfortable with that, this trick, will be very challenging.
Yeah.
But
well, it requires audience management if you're out on the street surrounded by drunk people.
Yeah.
It's like if you're sitting down in a coffee shop or at the bar, or you're doing it for a family member or a friend in the pub, easy. But if you like on the street,
you just got to command the space. Like it sounds a bit like, that's what I've realized. It's like you just got to be the boss.
Yeah.
And without being like in a friendly little, like, we're in this together. This is what it is. It's not the magician against you guys. I'm part of your group, hopefully, or that's the goal.
Yeah.
So you guys want me to succeed, but you have to be the boss.
But you can only learn that by going out and doing it and,
have to do
experience.
You have to do it. That's why Nike has the best slogan: just do it. Just magic.
That's good.
I'm trying to make this
new slogan.
I'm trying to get that to catch on. We should try and get people to say it to camera.
Let's make some shirts. Just magic.
Just magic.
Just magic.
Just magic. But yeah, it's oh man, I'm learning so much, and we still got one more day today off, which is the craziest day.
What is St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day
It's going to be
wild.
fucking mental out there.
Yeah.
I thought yesterday was mental.
Yeah.
I remember, so what was it, like 11 o'clock last night? We're like, right, let's leave this busy area. Let's try and walk to this next bar. And I walked, and it's like, it looked like a protest, because the entire street was just a sea of people.
Yeah.
Looked like they were doing some kind of parade, and it was just people outside of a bar.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, this is too much now.
I was talking to a couple that we were performing for last night, and I said, oh, what will tomorrow be like? And they said, you think this is busy, this is nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Every day we've seen it just become more and more and more. I'd almost say Thursday was the perfect amount of people, you know, maybe even Friday. But, it also I mean, how many tricks went wrong? Like almost every performance, like especially me. I don't think you've fucked up as many. Like I think every trick I've done.
I think I've messed up. Well, I say messed up on, like we're talking messes up where they don't necessarily know something's gone wrong. Dwayne's got footage of me doing card to mouth after the guy had dropped my deck.
Yeah.
So it's all clumpy because the floor was wet with beer.
Yeah.
And I do just a standard, the add-on move of you push forward and show. But I dropped a clump of cards. So I'm like, do this, and then, it's in here.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
to do card to mouth. She's fully engaged, and as I do that, I can see it's the wrong card.
Yeah.
But she didn't know. I just did like a paintbrush change after.
Yeah.
But Dwayne, I don't know if you've got it on. Maybe we'll keep it just for people to watch. But Dwayne goes, "I'll delete that one for you."
It was funny though because he went like this and he goes, turns it over and it's the signed cards, and then she looks up and he's just got a random card on his mind.
Yeah,
That's just what he was thinking of. It's a different Spectator over here.
She was like, "Why is there a card in the mouth?" I was like, "Different trick," and he was like, "I'll delete that for you."
Imagine
so
in
funny.
that moment you would have done like a little transpo or some weird thing
Yeah.
because you could, like that's the fun thing. People never know what the end of the trick is. Only you do. But then there are mistakes like that, and then there are mistakes that you can't recover from, or like you can't like the twirl change.
Oh wow!
We've got that on video. Please, you can't.
I think it goes underneath the lens.
Dude,
but
that
yeah.
is. I do the twirl change.
I'm not
all the
deleting
time.
that.
It went flying.
Just look at the ink because we'll shake. It worked. There you go.
That's crazy.
Get them down there.
And that's like, how do you? Weirdly enough, though, I think there was a reaction because that Joker showed up. I wanted to change some card into the Joker. So they saw the Joker on the ground and it kind of got a reaction. But, I mean, who cares, right? It's like or the ring on shoulder.
Oh, that always.
There's this one, I think Courtney, what's her name? Courtney. She was a tough one. And I was like, all right. I always tell them, don't move.
I can remember this, and I remember it because I was standing there with a camera and I was got the shot.
Yeah.
And I thought, why has he picked a girl with a fucking leather slippery jacket when there was a girl with a jumper next to her?
Yeah.
Because she was I tell you why.
No, but she was the one. She had music playing in her own head.
Yeah.
Because she came over to me and she's like, oh, you're magicians, and I was like, yeah. And then she was like, oh,
Yeah.
And you're like, and there's no music playing it. I was like, right, okay, you're off it.
I tell you why. Because she was if I would have not done it for her, she would have interfered constantly.
Yeah.
So there is this thing of like, she clearly wanted, but with that, she was like, it's just, and I tell them, it's like, don't move, this trick won't work. I think it's Justin Miller. I've heard him say, like, just say it. Just tell them not to move because that's the worst part, like loading it on someone. It's like, it's there and you're like, oh, thank God. Because there's always this moment where you put it on and you're like, oh, is it staying on? You're like, oh, God.
You know what I do though? Like if you hold your arm out, so you're doing like, so you're like there like this. So you say, look, hold me on the wrist like this, like up high.
Yeah.
As you do that, I put my elbow into here and I go, this hand is just misdirection.
Yeah.
And you can't see the ring, and they can't lower their hand. It's perfect. And then I pinch their little finger, and I say, "Did you see it go?"
Yeah.
And they go, "No." So I'm controlling that space.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it jumps to your
Nice.
shoulder.
I like them holding the wrist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like hold the wrist, and but it never drops because I you're like, oh look, this hand's just misdirection, and they're like, oh right, okay.
But I think Courtney was doing this. She was like, I was like, okay. And I go, open your hand. She's like, no. I was like, open your hand. But as she was doing gravity, alcohol, whatever it was.
No, she was staring so intensely at her
but
hand.
she was going forward.
She was trying to get closer to it, but just leaning forward.
I saw it slip, and I go like, oh, please open your hand at the moment it falls because it maybe gets the thing. Because all the other girls literally saw the ring right away.
Yeah.
So they were just waiting for Courtney. But again, the point is, if things go wrong, who cares? Right?
Yeah.
Like that's another thing that just comes from doing it. You just like tricks go wrong all the time.
I think that's where nerves come from. When I used to be in a band, with my dad and my uncle and stuff, and we just used to just do it for fun. We used to just practice together. And my uncle is a very smart man, and he said to me, because we were doing a gig in the local pub where we were practicing, and he goes, "Oh, you're right." I said, "Yeah, just a bit nervous." And he said, "Why?" And I said, I don't know. He goes, "Yeah, but there must be a reason why you're nervous. What are you nervous for?" I said, "I don't know. I suppose in case I mess up." He goes, "Okay. So what happens if you mess up? Why would that make you nervous?" And it came down to caring what people think too much.
Yeah.
And that really changed
Yeah.
my perspective on things of how I look at it.
Yeah.
You know, And it's just caring about what other people think. And why do I care what other people think? And
You clearly don't. You're wearing sunglasses indoors.
yeah, but because it's early in the morning and I look like shit.
Yeah, no, just joking.
I'm saving it for you guys, but yeah, it came down to that. It came down to just caring and worrying about what other people think.
It's interesting, right? It's interesting how like, because you asking, it's like, why? Because you say this to me. I go like yesterday, I was like, how are you feeling? After that first group, before we went to the rowdy group. I was like, how are you feeling? I was like, I don't know. I wasn't nervous, I just felt a bit off. I wasn't there. The energy around me was crazy. And I was not on that. I was not there. And then I just said it and I was like, I feel a bit off. And you went, why? And I couldn't tell you exactly. And I'm like, come on, let's go. And that's all I needed. And that's sometimes all you need. Like have people around you who like, it's so easy, but it's just like, why? And then I can't answer it.
Have you seen those people who teach their kids to swim by just throwing them in the pool?
Yeah.
That's what I do to you. So if I can tell you're in a bit of a funk, I go, he's a magician. And then they go, and then I can see your face go.
I go like, ah.
But if I can tell you're in a bit of a funk, I'm like, he's incredible. And they're like, oh, yes, please.
It's just like raising the bar like this. And then they stand there like, I think that's what gets me. I'm okay with people. I like having fun. It's weird when I live off the energy I get. You know, if I get good energy, people talking to me and asking questions, boom, 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 I can. But going up and first starting, and they're just like waiting there like dogs, like, you know, or like even like this, and no one is talking, and I have to now be the hey, whoa, hey, whoa, and especially with the camera on, that's what gets me. But it's good that you do it. It's good that you do it, but I also hate you for it.
Yeah.
So then it's both of that. I don't know.
I think some of the best performances I've seen is when he's done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is literally just throwing them into the pool.
That's a good thing.
Sink or
Because
swim.
once you have that good performance, I don't mean good as in skilled.
Yeah.
But I mean like where you feel good about it.
Yeah.
Puts you on such a different level.
Yeah.
For the next few hours.
I just go with like any opening. I see a crack in the door and I go. So it's like,
Yeah.
do you remember I donated? I'm not a saint, by the way. This is not for my own ego.
Here we go.
But I gave some money to that homeless woman with a dog, and I said I'm a sucker for dogs. And that, remember?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say what,
Okay.
but I was like I'm a sucker for dogs. And some girl walking past who was drunk said she was like, oh, da da da, like she said to me. Anyway, I made a joke. She laughed. And we were walking on our way to a bar, and I said, hey, do you want to see a trick? Like, I was immediately like, there's a little crack in the door. She's engaged in our conversation. Mm-hmm. Turns out she worked for a dog charity.
Yeah.
So it was like, there was like some connection there to her listening out, or she must have been focusing on the dog.
Yeah.
But I saw a little crack in the door, and I was like,
Take it.
yeah, I'm going to take this opportunity. Where you talk about that Goldilocks reaction.
Yeah.
I've been on so many shoots with so many of the most revered, idolized magicians on earth, and they are bricking it. And I have to throw them in the deep end. I have to be the one to be like, Dwayne, how many times? And I'm like, how about them over there? And then they go, oh, they look too quiet. And what about them over there? Oh, they look like they're in too intense of a conversation. What about those? No, I don't think they're going to react well. What about them there? And they're waiting for that Goldilocks moment. And I just go, okay. And I start walking.
Yeah.
And then I open up something. And if they're terrible, I'll move on.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get a good opening, I'm like, great. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
And I'll do the intro. But that, I think we were talking about this off camera. It's like, yesterday I was going to do the single-handed with a signed card. And my jacket was open. And I got caught going around in my jacket to do the steal.
Yeah.
And they didn't know. They still enjoyed the trick. But I remember like afterwards, I was like, God, I can't believe I messed up the steal. And it's only in my own brain.
Yeah.
But I immediately moved on.
Yeah, let it go.
And I think a ton of magicians that I work with, a ton of artists, who do take themselves as seriously as an artist,
Yeah.
it will destroy them for the entire night.
Yeah.
They're like,
Ego, right?
isn't it? Yeah, they're like, oh, and they'll make some excuse too. They'll be like, oh, I can't do it. The jacket's is
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
it's too stiff on me. I just can't get the, and you're like, right, just move on, dude.
Especially if you're used to performing for other magicians constantly and being praised. And like, that's what we said at the beginning, like full circle, it's different. It's completely different. And you have to just do it. But you also, that's why it's a good idea to just keep going. Let it go right away. Like once you're in that flow, like I've done Garrett Thomas's stand-up Monty 1,000 times in
We
my
have
life.
footage of this.
We have footage of it. We're there.
Are we talking about
It's
the-
on your phone, isn't it?
It's on phone, yeah.
But I think you recorded after, you stopped recording after like 3 minutes of me going,
It was so funny because you
was
were
so-
literally talking him through step by step as he was performing. It was so
I couldn't
good.
figure out what I was doing wrong. I've done this 1,000 times.
You were like, I've got a 4, and the guy was like, yeah, you got a 4, and you're like, and a queen, and this is the money card, this is a and I've got another distraction card, right?
Yeah.
And then you,
And all I had to do, yeah.
and all you had to do was this, but you went,
I forgot
you went like that, and
step.
you're like, wait, and you turned to me and you went, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And I said, swap that 4 for that 4 in front of the guy. And
Simple game, follow the queen. The 4 is just there to distract you. Hold out your hand. So when you... What am I doing wrong?
This is the wrong.
Huh?
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
So, here we go. No. Something is going wrong. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, we just practiced this trick.
All right, I'm on the queen here.
So you're on the queen here. So the 4 is here. No, the queen is here.
Okay. Yeah, let's swap the falls.
So if we do it again, like this.
That's a 4.
That's no. That's a queen.
How the fuck did you do
and then he went like this. Oh, okay, I've got it.
But before I did that, I did the worst thing you could ever do, which is like, I should have just stopped, right? I should have just stopped and put them away or do something different. Because that's the same guy that was already, his brain was already melted. That's why I said that was your thing, but it was like, let's just go one more time. And it started off great, and then I did the worst thing. It's like after 2 minutes of me not figuring out, it's like, let me just start over. And I fucking turned around.
All right, I'm gonna turn around. I fucked up the game myself. Wait.
Too many beers.
And I went like this, but I only did it because we were getting along. But that's just another point of just saying like, fuck it. You know, it's like, I could have just been like, oh my God, like I'm the worst guy ever, especially with you guys then filming. But it's like, if you have people around you as well, like, we constantly bash each other. But it's good to know, like, we know on what level we do it. And if you're out there with your friends performing, you know, it's the best to have people that, you know, lift you up, or like they do the fluffing for you. Or
Explain fluffing to people. Like, what would you do to fluff?
Because you are a master fluffer.
You are the master fluffer.
I think Miles called me. He was like, you know, legend fluffer. It's like, you know what I would describe your job in New York? It's like legend fluffer. Well, it's, I don't know, what do? I just walk up and I just talk to them.
Yeah.
But it's much easier for me when I'm not the one performing. So, right? So when we're in New York and I was doing it for Unreal Card Magic on the second trip, I just go up and I just start talking to them, because I used to do fundraising on the street in Australia. So my job was just stopping people on the streets and talk about a charity, and
What was the charity?
Doctors Without Borders. Should go donate. Let me actually go on the pitch. It's the world's largest PTSD. But yeah, my job was just literally because I was just backpacking. And, you know, I was like 20 years old and I just took this job and I was just on the streets in Melbourne, all across Australia, and just stopping people. And I've just realized it's just like, again, just like commanding the space, but just walk up confident and talk, fake it till you make it.
But yeah, did you have that? Like in my brain, it was the 3-second rule of like, you know, did you have the thing of like, okay, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to ask them. Like, what's the process of you?
They just walk past. You don't stop. Like, its momentum is like, is there a quote? I'm terrible at quotes, but the most powerful force in the universe or something. And it's, for me, it's so true. Momentum is like, once you're in or like the flow state, and it goes with anything, but that is just, once you start, just keep going. Don't let off. Like, that's what happened last night or when we performed. So I just like I just walk up and I don't know what I'm gonna say. So I feed off what they say to me. And then but it also, I'm so used to being rejected. So it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care about rejection anymore. I genuinely don't. So I think that's like where the fluffing comes from. But for the people at home, fluffing is like when we're out on shoots, we find a group, and normally the guy performing isn't going up to the group. It's you or me or someone else.
So you need a warm-up guy.
Yeah, so you go up there and, hey, how are you guys? Feel the group out, and then if they're cool with it, and then we bring in the magician, or we bring them in, and that's just.
I think we do that though to save time, because we're here for a reason to. But
Yeah, you don't fucking
you know,
try it.
like obviously, if you're going out with your friends and stuff, you don't need a fluffer guy. You don't need to call your mate up. I want to go and perform.
No,
That's
I do
true,
my
yeah,
own
you're right.
fluffing.
Yeah.
But like, I think the concept of fluffing is that you're a real human being before you're a magician.
Yeah.
So it's like you're having a conversation. You want to assess whether they can have a joke, assess whether they're open as people,
Yeah,
and then it makes good footage.
yeah,
Whereas if you go over, hey, how's it going?
yeah,
And then they go, terrible.
yeah,
And you're like, okay,
yeah,
have a good day. Bye-bye.
Deck stain in the pocket.
Exactly, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's a good thing, you know. Going up to doing your own fluffing.
Yeah.
Keep your cards in the pocket. Start
Yeah.
with. Talk to them for a few minutes.
yeah.
Have a laugh and a joke with them. Don't just go in with a deck card.
Yeah. Just building rapport, you know. And I think that's why yesterday flowed so nicely, you know, because we were just in that zone, but we weren't worried, you know. We've got some footage, and then it just kept going on and on and on. But we were just having conversations, and then, oh, by the way. But it's obviously different sometimes on shoots. And maybe people at home, you know, they're like, we want to film something, like, but how do we do it? How do we approach people? Again, just do it. Just magish.
Just magish.
Yeah, that's so good.
Just magish.
Flows.
Just magish.
Yeah, man. It's a crazy job. It's crazy. Still can't believe it. That this is the life.
Yeah.
Like, I have to, like, sometimes pinch myself. As like people ask you, it's like, so it's what you do?
Yeah, but this is new for you.
Yeah, this is new. I'm the new
3 months in.
3 months in. I mean, I work with you guys, you know, a lot of time. Well, before it was like official. You know?
Give people an insight at home then. So like, you knew of Illusionist before, and then what was the difference, I think, between what you saw and then when you met us, what it was like?
It was a lot more relaxed than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, I mean, you got, obviously it's a business, but you're actual humans. It sounds so weird, but it's like I've met, you know, like I've met many magicians and hung around many magicians that I just never was able to connect with, because I can also, it's not my whole identity. And I think that's why we get along and vibe so well, because a lot of times we can talk about magic for hours, and we do, but not always. We talk about life, we talk about everything, and I think that's why I got along with you guys so well. We all are passionate about it, but that's why I was so surprised with. I thought, like, I didn't know what to expect. I came out to the very first shoot, I emailed you, just took a shot in the dark. I was like, hey, do you need help? You know, like, not asking for money, not asking for a job. I just, like, you know, like I was doing a bit of TikTok and a bit of whatever, just some silly videos online. And then I came out to a shoot, and, you know, I think what I liked is, like, you guys just, like, take risks as well. And you like saying yes to the unknown, you know, like trying out new things. And I think that's what people like about Illusionist as well, and what I liked. Is like, I can throw an idea your way, even when I wasn't a team member, you know, in New York with the sign, for example, you know, part of the fluffing again. But I was just like, hey, should we, like, I saw this thing online where you just, like, write something on a sign and then I just like, free magic, or like, want to see something incredible or something. And then, because New York's so busy, and you were like, yeah, let's go. Right away, we just, like, went to the thing, and I was like, oh, I like this.
That's something I learned from Brad. And I'm not a very spiritual person, but Brad isn't he?
Brad Christian.
Brad Christian,
Crown
yeah.
Founder.
And he always used to say, like, he'd say, like, oh, it's the energy, G. it's the energy. And you'd be like, okay. And I wasn't spiritual. I was like, whatever, mate. We got to like, let's get some practical steps in place. He's like, it's just energy, G. It just feeds into it. And then I remember taking it on board, and then I just kind of came up with this like thing of like energy in, energy out. Like if you put the correct energy into something, you'll get it out the other end. It'll go well. And I remember sitting down like when Ben had never worked with us before in New York, and I was like, right, energy out. We land. He's never worked with Illusions before. He had no expectations. I was like, right, let's go out, get cocktails. He like looks at the menu, and he's like, oh, I might get the lamb. And then he saw that it was like super expensive because it was an entire leg of lamb, like for serving like 6 people. He's like, oh no, I won't get the lamb. I said, mate, just get the lamb. Just enjoy yourself. Like we'll all eat lamb then. We'll just have lamb.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, but it's a ridiculous price. So he's a very humble guy. He's like, this is a ridiculous price. I was like, mate, just get it. Like energy, let's start as we mean to go on. Like let's not say no, let's say yes to opportunities. And what we got out of that is untold. We made a friendship with the waiter, who then was happy to bring his girlfriend along. We got performances with them. He brought us free desserts, didn't he? Like we got performances in the restaurant. They sent us up to the cocktail bar upstairs where we got performances.
Yeah.
Like all this other stuff, positive things that started to happen on the end of saying yes to the lamb.
Yeah.
It's like so stupid.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying it's always going to work, but like we landed, we said yes to this house. Yes to the house. Turns out it's been on some Irish gangster TV show that's quite popular.
We still got to do an MTV Cribs.
Yeah, but then we get out and we're like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. No one has told us we can't film, isn't it? All the bouncers have been like, oh, come on in, like.
And talking about saying yes and just going with them opportunities. Like yesterday when you said, we're just walking down the street and we've seen this little narrow alleyway, and G literally just glanced down. It was like, we should go down there, and we did, and that's where we ended up.
I wasn't up for it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, because I wanted to go to that church place. That's where I had the little thing. We didn't tell you because you said, put your phone down. Let's just use our eyes, which is actually true. It's a good point, and I'm glad we did. But I was like, let's go to the church because I just had this fucking terrible performance. And I was like, let's just get there. It looks nice and spacious. So we're on the way there. And then you're like, oh, that's a nice alleyway. And you're like, yeah. And then you already started walking in.
What a line, by the way. That's a nice alleyway.
Yeah.
As alleyways go, that's a great alleyway.
It was like a proper old cobbled Irish alleyway. And you could see all the little lights and the people.
And you started walking in. And then you just did it. And then we just followed. And I remember being in the back like, oh, okay. And then thank God we did it,
You never know what's around the corner.
No, exactly. And you've done fucking 1,000 shoots as well, right?
Yeah.
And you say like sometimes people just get in their head and it's like, let's not go there. Let's just use your eyes. And
what happened to Tom Elderfield?
That's where it came from. And I'll always live by this from now on. Me and Tom were filming. What was it?
Flight
by Steve Thompson, and it was in a weird window where everything opened up. It was during COVID. Everything opened up. We were in London. We filmed all the explanations, all the talking heads, blah blah blah. And we had this one last day to go out and do performances. And we were, we got out and everything. It was absolutely pissing down with rain, and there was nobody about. And we're like, oh, what are we gonna do? So I was looking on my phone, and I was like, you know what? Should we just go on a pub crawl? We'll go on a pub crawl, we'll have some beers.
Explain a pub crawl to Americans.
A pub crawl is where you're going to have a beer in a pub, and then you'll walk and go to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And you go on this little journey. Normally it's planned, but London, there's that many pubs, you don't really know where you're going. And we were like, let's just see where we end up.
Yeah.
And we'll just go on a pub crawl, we'll perform for people on the way. And we did, and it was one of the best nights that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Because we just walked, and we found a pub, we're going to... Went into this like gay club.
Yeah.
That was great because we started showing magic in there, and everyone was wow, blah blah blah. Went to the next one, and it was like a cocktail bar,
Yeah.
Went to the next one. It was like a really old pub,
Yeah.
and we ended up in the casino.
Yeah.
And there's a shot in the trailer where we're filming in the casino. This is like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And Tom's performing for these French people, and I'm filming it on my phone because obviously I can't have the camera. But that made it into the trailer as well.
Yeah.
But we just went on this completely random trip, and I'll always live by that now. Like,
Yeah.
just go. You never know what's.
No, it's true. It's where did we do that? We did that somewhere as well. Where we in Amsterdam, remember? We did like the very first day of Amsterdam.
Oh, when you did the thing by the bins.
Yeah, with the bins. All we had is, and the Amsterdam trip is gonna probably live as one of the worst,
Yeah.
but also probably most, like, we've learned quite, again, there is always a learning lesson. Don't perform magic in the Netherlands. I'm joking, everyone. I'm German, I could say these things. Probably not. You shouldn't do magic in Germany either. But all we had was this little mic, right? And all we said is like, let's just have some fun. We didn't know what tricks exactly we were gonna do, what we were gonna do. We're standing, you were just filming me dancing with an umbrella, right? Just having fun. Like, that's another thing, just getting in the swing of it, just between, us. We're just having fun and a good time. I was just talking random things next to this bin, right? And then these people, again, you shoot and people walk by and they're like, what is this? And then this woman is like, what are you? And it's like, free magic, come. And that was the one where I did with the dog and whatever. I think we have it on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know what my point was.
It's just
Don't go to the Netherlands.
I lost it.
Just sometimes you don't have to plan so much. Just go and
exactly.
We must have spent a good hour yesterday just having a look for places to go.
Yeah.
Where I think we landed on one place, we went there, but then just taking that one turn down that alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spent all night there in that one place because it was so good.
But yeah, again, isn't it? There's the energy in, energy out thing.
Yeah.
Energy in, energy out. Like, we went with the intention of being loose and saying yes to opportunities.
That's it. Just say yes.
Just say yes to the opportunities. It's that movie, Yes Man.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's like, because the first New York, like, you went on the first New York trip with Ben and Dwayne and Miles for Unreal. That was in like July or something, June, in the middle of
a heat wave.
Right, it was too hot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you decided to go back in September, and you called me probably like, we were on the phone talking about something else, and it was like 5 days out for the next trip. You're like, what are you doing from the 14th to the 19th of September? And I was like, nothing. It's like, what would you, if we go to New York, like, do you have an idea what you could do there? I was like, take behind the scenes stuff for socials, do some photos.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let me think. I was like, would you be down? I was like, yes. And I just said yes straight away. I was like, and then it was my first job with you guys, but I'll always remember this being like, because New York was always a dream of mine.
Yeah.
And I like that. Remember sitting in the cab, I think day 3. And as we were on the way to the party at the bar, the meetup thingy, right?
Yeah.
And I was just sitting in the cab, and I was like, a simple word, yes, got me to like literally live my dream right now.
And we had a fucking great time.
It's like it was. I mean, it was like, it literally sounds so weird, but like gives me goosebumps thinking about it. But every time we see Ben and Miles, we're always like, remember New York?
Yeah.
Like, it was like the perfect, like everything, and I came in as an outsider, so I was a bit worried, but that's when I knew it's like, oh wow, these guys are good. Like, I wanna work with them. I wanna do this.
And now you do, because you said yes.
Yes, and I say
I
yes.
say, now you work here. So I started to hire people for energy because I realized, like, I got on with Oban, and I remember telling, at the time, Brad and Adam were like in charge of Illusionist. I remember telling Brad and Adam, like, me and Madison had a phone call, but behind the scenes we were like, God, Oban is so cool and so chill and so talented. Like, it'd be great if we just had him on staff. And we call up Brad and Adam. We're like, guys, we've been thinking, like, this guy's just got it. Like, he's just got that. And with Dwayne Dwayne had, no offense, no skill. No skill. Like, he had a camera.
No skill for the job I was applying for.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
I did have some other skills.
Yeah.
Fuck me, mate.
Yeah, no camera skill. No camera skill. I'll clarify. No camera skills. But you released, what was the trick you released? Dimension?
Yeah.
Stretch.
It was a stretch card.
Stretch. Oh god.
Yeah, so
sorry.
you released Dimension, you took all your royalties from Dimension, and you bought a camera,
Yeah.
and then I think McKinnon left.
It was like 2 months after.
Yeah, McKinnon went to go be a YouTuber, very successful, and like, phenomenal guy with such an incredible impact on production and magic. And I think the energy for Brad and Adam at the time was, let's hire someone as good as McKinnon. And like, we were interviewing people, and they're like, people who worked for HBO, people who were camera guys for this, and they're like, do I have to move to California? What's the relocation package? What's this? We were like, it's a lot easier than that. You just work from home. And they're like, my wife doesn't want me to do this. Okay. And then I remember saying like, hey, there's this guy who's got a great energy. He's self-taught. He took his royalties. He's reinvested in a camera. I'm like, he will learn. Mm-hmm. Like, he'll teach himself and he'll do it. And that's what you need. Mm-hmm. And I remember you watching like tutorials how to use the Fujifilm X100F.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Still couldn't do it.
yeah.
Sorry, Oban.
Yeah. But like, in that scenario and in your scenario, it's like, you just need the energy sometimes of like,
Or just the work ethic as well.
yeah, the
Just
work ethic.
Willing to learn.
Yeah. And like all the people that are like, I don't know, they're like, hey, I'm the best, marketer. I'm the best this, I'm the best that, I'm
Yeah.
the best. I've worked for Colgate. I've worked for, GlaxoSmithKline, and I did this, and I was the chief, blah, blah, blah. It's like, those people already see themselves as there.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to say to someone, hey, do you like to have fun?
Yeah.
Do you want to try some cool things?
Yeah.
Great. Pick them up on
Yeah.
the way up,
And you know what I also like, I think, is like it is a very small team, rather small team, right? There's obviously a lot of people behind the scenes, but it's just like if there's what do you always say? Too many cooks.
Spoil the broth.
Yeah. And I never heard that saying before. There's no such thing like that saying in German, so I don't know. But it is true in a way.
There's another one, which is a camel is a horse designed by committee, which basically means you have a vision of a horse, right? So you want to create a horse. Uh-huh. But when you get everyone else's opinion, you end up with a camel.
I prefer the cooks and broth one.
Yeah, so
I like that one.
Yeah.
I can follow that one. But yeah, it's just, just the environment. I think that's it. If you feel it as well, and going back to energy now again, like I feel like we're losing people here with all this spiritual talk. But no, I'm joking. But it is true. It's like you can just pick up on anyone, like someone's energy, and that doesn't just go here. It goes when you outperform as well. It's like you know when you find the right person, and like there's something telling you like, I don't know, let's do one more, like let's go in that alleyway. And it's like at that moment, no, we wanted to go to the church, but it was like, no, we're a team, let's go with this. Like Dwayne says, we're walking in there, so let's just follow and see what happens. If it's shit, we'll go somewhere else. And everyone is, and it's like a nice little game of ping pong that we're playing.
But maybe that's the whole concept we're talking about: failing in magic, or failing getting the footage, or failing in a bar, or like failing to get the energy.
Yeah.
I spoke to a tattoo artist, and I said, "Do you ever mess up?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All the time." But he says that's the number one question his clients ask, which is, "Have you ever messed up a tattoo?" And he says, "I have to lie to them. I have to say no, of course not," because he doesn't want to give them the fear whilst they're being tattooed. But he says, like, all the time, there'll be a line that's like too wobbly, and he has to go, how am I going to fix this in the moment?
Yeah.
How can I fix it? And
Crazy. Yeah.
I think that's everyone's job, is like, you always make mistakes, but maybe it's because it's filmed and we put out, the good stuff, or maybe there's an expectation of like, oh, this is a successful business. They must do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
But it's not that, is it? Like,
Yeah.
maybe people find comfort in that
Yeah.
as well, to know like we mess up all the time, we get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't get good reactions, sometimes we
Yeah.
do. And it's like, you know, life doesn't always have to be perfect. Like it won't always go your way.
And you know, the interesting thing is we obviously came here with a game plan of filming poker roulette, right? Performances. We still have to do the explanations after
Yeah.
this. Single-handed. It's another trick. Deadline. I didn't want to say it. I think that's, and obviously just social stuff. But we've been talking about this one project behind the scenes, or like an idea that we have for something a little different that, you know, I think Illusion has never done before, right? Which is like a free thing that we want to put out. But especially we talked about it, we really think this is going to work. And then we got Dwayne, I was like, this sounds sick. And then yesterday, so, you know, we were just, you know, talking and then we realized at some point, I was like, this might be the guy for it. Just a random guy that we've met. He might be the tattoo artist that we've just talked about.
Yeah.
Might be. But we just naturally met him, and he's the perfect person for that project that we have. And we came here with a different mission, but we've got so many other things, so much value out of it again.
Yeah.
Which just shows, like, as soon as you said, man, that's St. Patrick's Day on the 19th. Should we go to Ireland? It's like, sure, could be fun. And, you know, it could have been like Amsterdam. We went up with high hopes, and, you know, Amsterdam was my idea, by the way, so.
Yeah, I'll never listen to you again.
The idea was to do it in summer, by the way, not in the middle of winter, but, you know, no defense. Yeah, I'll take it.
I think Ireland's been one of the best places we've come to there.
I agree.
I mean, the energy here is great,
Oh,
but
amazing.
should we, before we wrap this up, just talk a little bit about the few tricks that we've, why are we actually here?
Yeah. So one of them is something that me and Dwayne were working on called single-handed. And it's basically, I mean, for magicians, they're always going to get these things where people going, oh, the hand's quicker than the eye, or you're fast, or is that misdirection, or is this? And we were kind of working on this routine where we were like, what if you did it with one hand? Could you make it feel more impossible if it was with one hand? And then it became like, okay, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. So there's multiple different versions of that. But yeah, we came to film that, which you know, we were talking about situations and like what's good. We came with the intention of filming multiple tricks. We realized that the single-handed thing is perfect for a street environment. For this environment. The street, loud people, you know, aggressive people that you can't necessarily control.
Yeah.
The other stuff that we did in Blackpool like 3-4 weeks ago for magicians.
That's pocket roulette, yeah.
Pocket roulette.
Yeah.
We've realized like this is a tough environment for that particular trick.
Yeah.
And so we came up with like streamlined versions.
Yeah.
Because we were like, right, how do we take away that difficulty? So yeah, we're going to give that in the explanations, but this is what I love about what we do is, and obviously everyone's biased, but when I see certain tricks go out on the market, and then you see someone on the cafe or someone on a forum or whatever, and they write something underneath, and they're like, oh, you could just do this, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
And I think at least what I'm proud of us in general is being honest about the process of development and saying, do you know what? We developed it to this perfect point for magicians, and it's great, and it's perfect for sit-down performances in these people, but then saying, okay, it needs further development over here if you want to be able to turn this into a street trick.
Yeah.
And like working through those steps. We weren't just content with like this point, put it out. It was like, right, let's make sure we've tested this in every environment. Does it stand up?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's also just being honest about it, that it's not you know, we believe these are great routines and great tricks, but they also really fit our style of what we like. Fun,
Yeah.
interactive,
Yeah.
a lot of ways to present it. You know, it's not just one rigid, you have to do it this way. You have literally poker roulette. I mean, how many versions do we? We're not going to put them all out there, but there's so many ways to go about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I forgot my point again. Jesus Christ, this is a time. No.
early.
This is the.
Got it? You're back.
Yeah.
You've
Well,
recovered.
I'm killing time. No, but I got it. That is. That's me doing stand-up Monty. It's like smoke coming out of my ears.
Already, we haven't
Yeah.
even got out yet.
Yeah. Oh man, it's been 4 days. Is it 4 days? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Today's day 4.
Yeah.
I never thought this was going to be an exhausting job. I'm going to be honest. We've talked about this,
Yeah.
drifting off now. But yesterday night, I was like, I am tired because you have to be on. It's not just doing tricks. You have to socialize constantly, right? And it's talking to different people. And it's like, yeah, so what do you do for work? And I'm like, oh, God. No, they're all lovely.
But no, but there's a social fuel tank, and to perform,
Yeah.
your tank needs to be full
Yeah.
before you go out. And then it gets to a certain point in the night where
Yeah.
you can't match.
Yeah.
They're like, "Are you a magician?"
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you sit on
Yeah,
a
yeah,
stool
yeah.
after 50 performances, and you're like,
It's like, all right, let me get my ring ready. No, but no, my point was, to sum it up, it's just these tricks, all 3 of them are just like really fun, interactive.
"What's your exhausted point?" Because you went somewhere else. What's the point of, like, where you said you didn't think this would ever be a tough job?
What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
You said you like went off on a tangent.
Yeah.
And you said, "I didn't ever think this would be a tough job. I'm exhausted." What was the point there?
Of me saying that?
Yeah.
I'm just surprised because I thought like, oh, wait, I'll just do some magic. I'll just perform. I mean, I do gigs and stuff, not as much as I used to. But I just thought like, all right, yeah, roll the camera. I'll do a few card tricks. But you know, the walking, the planning, the thinking, the us sitting here talking about the lack of sleep. I mean, we're out till the middle of the night, stand up, we do this. It's just like it drains. Like I come back home and I'm like, I need 3 days of just decompression and not talk about magic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this is a different way of doing magic for a living. It's not just performing. You don't go to gigs and then come. This is like coming up with ideas and, you know, plots, and magic it's interesting. I mean, but it is a lot harder work than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
But you're in now, mate.
You're in.
No, I'm totally in. But these tricks are fun, and they're great, and we're very proud of them.
Yeah.
And the point is that you should all buy them. Support illusionists.
Yeah. I mean,
Magish.
Just magic guys.
Magish. From an energy perspective, I noticed it with myself. I was doing single-handed studio performances for you
Yeah.
to show someone, like, where do you stand?
Yeah.
At what point do you steal? We were getting all the close-ups of behind the back,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like drained. I was like, it's not really doing the trick,
Yeah.
you know, good service, but it was like, okay, we were up till 2:30 in the morning filming,
Yeah.
and I've got skylights in my bedroom. I'm like, the light comes in at 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's like the 3rd day of hardly any sleep.
Yeah.
It's tough to then be like, this is such a great trick. It is a great trick, you know, it is, but it's hard, isn't it? To like,
Yeah.
I think sometimes
It's exhausting.
it's exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting.
It's like you said to me yesterday, I've never seen anyone do the twirl change so slow.
It was literally like,
So tired. I was like, oh, because before that I did this twirl change where it just flies. So I was like, this time this won't happen again. So I just did it like this.
it was literally like that.
Yeah, literally like that. But it worked, I think. But that's
Yeah, but I remember watching it. It was so slow. I was like, what the fuck is he doing? And then I looked at them and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was so tired.
Dude, you know what I've realized with you as well?
What?
Like, I can't ever remember a time it happens to me, but I don't know what it is, but like, I think you messed up a trick, or it might have been deadline, but you were like, oh God, I mean, let's just take it like this, right? You went, and the card, and you had a 4 of like thing in it, and she went, that's my birthday, the 4th,
Yeah.
and she reacted to that, and you were like,
Oh, no, didn't he get 2 cards out? It was like the 7th and the 4th. It was like the 7th of April,
Yeah, so
the
there's
birthday.
three,
Yeah.
it was 4, 7, 4. Those were the 3 reveal cards for
Yeah.
deadline.
yeah, but she applied her own significance and reacted to her own trick in her own brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was completely separate to the trick. Like when you were like with Cypher, what does
Yeah.
that mean? And she's like, it's my dog's birthday. Yeah, but like people apply their own
Yeah.
trick to it.
Yeah.
Like neither of those were you trying to
Yeah.
do anything, but they're like, wow,
And the
you're
other
incredible.
girl jumped in and was like, no, it's actually my birthday.
Yeah,
I was like, it's also the time on the calculator, the stopwatch or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but I don't know, what was the point of yours? There?
Isn't it crazy?
Because you
Like,
said I
yeah.
don't-
That people apply their own significance to a routine. That you could be doing
Yeah,
a
yeah.
trick, but they react in like the 2-card Monty. They react in
Yeah.
to what their expectations is like. They're applying their own trick to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're getting a reaction for free for nothing. I remember we performed for those girls. I think one of them was like on her phone when we stopped them and we got one to sign a card. And then she put her phone away. So at the end, I was like, oh, and it comes to the top, your card, Lauren. And I was like, Lauren? And she was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it just turned out that they were both called Lauren.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you're both called Lauren? And she's like, but she was shocked at it because she's like, wait, Lauren?
Yeah.
Like she didn't see, and she thought it was for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I don't know, sometimes you get like a nice little cherry on top for free, don't you?
Take it. But before that, you said I've noticed you do this when you mess up or something.
No, not when you mess up. I notice you say words like, does that mean anything to you?
Oh.
And you'll go in
okay.
for like, you know, like the reveal.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're filling, like with the Cypher thing, are you filling time for the peak? With the deadline thing, are you hoping they get the stopwatch? But what happens is they inject their own trick. You go, hey, look, and it comes to the top, and it's not their card. And you go, 4, does that mean anything to you? And you're expecting them to say no, so you can do your twill change. And they go, 4? That's how many siblings I've got.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa.
Yeah. And it's probably the amount of times, like especially with deadline, those numbers, it's sometimes 3 cards, sometimes 4, and just asking that question. I do probably subconsciously, but the amount of times it happened that it means something to them. Like it is very surprising. So just like adding that little line is probably like, yesterday those 2 Irish girls, they were really good friends. And I was like, yeah, this is a great trick for you. We're going to test your connection, whatever. You're going to try and read her mind. So she's thinking of the 7 of spades. And I was like, you know, so what card do you think goes 7? She was, whoa, diamonds. Just, you know, taking those chances, like just these little, because if it doesn't work, it's not a trick.
Yeah.
You know, if I have a Queen of Hearts in my pocket and I say, can you name any card? They name a Queen of Hearts. It's a miracle. If it isn't, I'm not going to pull the card out. You know, just those added bonuses, because that's miracle stuff. You know, that's how I think Peter Turner says. That's how you create like legends, right?
Just be bold, yeah.
Just like there's a 1 out of like 12 thing. Are you Capricorn? If it isn't, fucking who cares?
I remember being in a restaurant with Pete Turner. We're getting footage of the 2 girls in this restaurant, and some girl over in the corner is just having her dinner.
Yeah.
She's just eating on her own.
Yeah.
She's like passively observing it. And there's a star sign reveal for one of them.
Yeah.
And then she's eating, and she goes, go on then, what's my star sign? And he goes, okay, just spell it in the air with the number of letters, like Leo, Leo, Leo. And she spits out her food. She's like, yeah!
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, how incredible is that? She's eating food.
Yeah. That's the best. That
So
stuff
good.
is, it's pure gold.
I think just before we wrap up, Dwayne, what's your highlight so far of the trip?
Oh, the Guinness.
Nice. I knew you were going to say it.
Just a vibe of Dublin, man. It's
Yeah.
been so good. Like everywhere you go, everybody's just so happy. The bars and everything are a great place to be to perform at. Everyone's really receptive and happy. It's just everything about it has been great, to be honest.
With vibe, do you mean energy?
Hello.
Energy.
Call back.
It's the energy, G.
It is the goddamn energy.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I agree.
Your highlight?
What's my highlight? Oh, dude,
Learning to iron.
I learned how to iron.
You
for
learned
the
how to
first
iron on this
time.
trip?
Yeah, I'm 29 years old now, and I never used an iron in my life. I always just wear wrinkly stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm bad like that. I'm a bad boy.
When I'm talking to people about you and say, "Oh, Yannick," they're like, "Hey, is there wrinkles?" Ah, yeah.
Wrinkles.
They won't call you that anymore.
Dude. No, my highlight, I think, dude, it's just like, I don't know, I'm just grateful to be here. I know it's such a cliche little, like, sucking up answer, but, man, my mom used to buy, 2008, bought my first Illusionist DVD, the Ultra Gaff deck.
Great project.
DVD set, got volume 2 and 3. That was my first ever Magic DVD. And now I'm like, full circle, like, I don't know, 15 years later, I'm sitting, traveling with Illusionists, working for Illusionists, working with you guys, doing what I love. So when I'm out there and I'm like, oh, it didn't feel good, I have to like zoom out or have someone like Dwayne or you remind me, you know, with a little line, like, and it's like, yeah, man, I'm lucky. So it's like every trip, it's just like sick. I get to be here for St. Paddy's Day and do what I love. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. And the burrito I had last night.
Yeah. Dude, for me too. Like I sit there sometimes. Like we were having margaritas last night and tacos, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is my job. Like I'm in Ireland. I'm chinking margaritas with the boys, eating tacos, and doing card tricks.
Yeah.
Like you pinch yourself a little bit.
Making
like,
new friends. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
What's your low light? What's so far the worst or craziest thing that's happened?
On this trip?
Yeah.
Ooh, the low light. I think the hangover on day one.
Sweet.
I don't think I've got one.
There's one flat
Maybe
Guinness
how-
that you had.
Shit, slow Uber Eats are around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of because everything else has just been so great. How about you?
What's your highlight? Oh, that's the highlight that you said? That you
No,
just had
no.
margaritas?
No. My highlight, definitely, I agree. The vibe of Dublin is so good.
Yeah.
Probably my highlight. That first bar and that first night
Just gonna
with this
say, yeah.
with the singer songwriter just playing all those classic songs.
Yeah.
You know, like Oasis, whatever, and like people were in such a good mood, and it was so easy to like stop people.
Yeah.
I'd say my low light is being someone tried to sell me cocaine in the middle of my trek and derailed my trek.
Yeah. And then the other guy came
And
in.
then the other guy I did card to shoe and this guy came and spoiled the reveal and
Didn't add anything.
he added nothing to it. So I was like, I thought he was coming over. He looked like a zany guy. He had a John Deere hat on and sunglasses. Like, he's gonna make this better than I could. So I was like, you take it. You get the card from my shoe, and he like picks it up and just does this.
Disappointing.
Like, I thought he was gonna be like.
And I still featured him on Instagram. I should actually delete that story.
But yeah,
Yes. That live music,
it was class, wasn't it?
belting out the songs, Wonderwall, and all these.
Oh,
these
it was so
classics.
good, isn't it? Like every pub, like we've been walking, like every pub you go past, it's just live music and violins, proper Irish music.
Dude, and then again, that first night, I just hear we're standing there singing, like literally I'm singing to Adele, rolling, and then I hear somewhere in the ether, I hear, he's a magician. I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at you, and you're talking to this whole table that I was just having a good time. He's a really good magician. He's great.
I think I did that to wind you up.
And I was like, come on, man, come on. But it was so loud. And I was like, I did ring thing. And I
Is
did,
this when we weren't filming it? Do you remember that?
So, dude,
Oh my God, mate.
I did ring thing, which is
Yeah.
my go-to. Shout out Garrett Thomas. I basically just do his like that's 50% of my
Try to. You
repertoire.
do ring thing well. You don't know how to do stand-up Monty.
Yeah,
get the process.
I barely get it. I barely get it done. But do ring thing. But I just do it to get the thing on the shoulder, whatever. Went over extremely well. Like those reactions were because it's loud and there's no talking and the faces, people grabbing their head. Oh my God. And I see out of the corner of my eye, I look at G, he's behind me. It's like he's filming. It's like great. So he's gotten this angle of this reaction. She's giving great reactions. Look at Dwayne, I see him. I was like, oh, he's recording from this angle. I was so proud. Like, I was like, oh, guys, you know, because it's for socials and that's technically my job. So I was like, oh, great. You know, I can use that. You know, it's good reactions. My ego is feeling great. And then G was like, afterwards, then I did stand-up Monty, went over great as well. Went to G and I was like, dude, didn't record it.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Well, you didn't record or any of it.
No, I got stand-up Monty.
Stand-up Monty.
But I remember after he did ring thing and he did the thing and she reacted, I was like this and I'm enjoying it through the camera. I'm like, yeah, oh, great, gold, what a reaction. And I'm looking at this girl's face and she's like, and I was like, wow, that's a
You
thumbnail.
getting the angles.
And then he does the ring on shoulder and I come behind the girl's shoulder so I'm getting the ring in the foreground and her reaction in the background. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And then after it's done, it's all over, I press the button to stop it and I'm like, gold. And I tap it and I just see it go bloop. And it comes up with the red and it starts timing 1 second. And I drop it down and I press it again. And I've just got a 1 second video of me filming Yannick and then his shoes.
Well, good job
that.
I filmed it then, wasn't it?
And I thought you were fucking with me. And
No, but then I said, Dwayne's got it. It's okay. Dwayne's got a second angle. I said, Dwayne, you got the footage. And he went, I wasn't filming.
I did exactly the same.
same thing. And I was like, none of you have it. So I asked the girl to like, we've got one like 17-second clip
Yeah.
of the girl filming the last bit of the shoulder. And you actually see G in the background.
Filming nothing.
Getting the angles. So you can see him going and getting the angles of nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There will no memory ever. And you guys are like,
Yeah, but
it never happened. No one got these reactions.
sometimes those moments just need to be memories.
And
Yeah.
well, I don't mind it. But that was actually one of my highlights.
In this
as
case,
well.
it's got to be a memory.
It has to be a memory.
It reminded me.
We should draw it. We should animate it.
Well, that's why I said to you guys, like, speaking of highlights, I was like, that was a highlight, those two things, because it was just, that's why I love magic. It reminded me, I watched, because it was like, stop watching that clip over and over again. And I said, dude, that scream at
You're like
the
a
end,
cockatiel watching yourself in a mirror.
because I'm so critical of myself.
Yeah.
Like, I barely stand like, if I have to edit a video of a performance I did, I want to just delete it. I was like, oh, listen to this voice and shit. But I didn't have to talk, you know, in that environment, and you just see those faces and just having a good time and the singing. I was like, that will be the island memory for me. This live music, singing, having a few drinks, meeting strangers, making them laugh.
With mates as well.
Ah, with mates. Let's put the hands in the middle, guys.
That's weird.
Come on, man. All right, we'll double up.
Why?
Come on, man.
Yes.
Out here. Should we get to the explanations?
Yeah. We better actually do some work now, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's
I
work.
think we're on like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
People at home have totally switched off.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
is for us now.
Our YouTube, the watch rate is just going to be like,
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
fine.
didn't even know we started.
It's therapy at this point. Should
yeah.
we talk about some trauma?
Yeah.
No, let's not open that Pandora box. But if anyone is still watching, we encourage you guys obviously to leave some comments if this is content you might enjoy. Some really long form, just us talking. It is just a podcast in a way. And, I mean, it isn't a podcast for us, but it kind of is. So if you guys do like it, definitely comment. And that helps the algorithm. We're just begging, we're just slaves to the algorithm. Comment and like, but we need your feedback. That's the whole idea. And yeah, you'll see all the projects that we have that we did here.
And you'll get to see some behind the scenes stuff and get to hear about behind the scenes of
Yeah,
how it all came about.
just letting you guys into the secret sauce, which isn't a secret. We're very transparent about it. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I see from the blog post to the socials, I think everyone right now is responding to the realness and authenticity of of us letting people in. Hey,
Yeah.
doesn't always work, not always the best reaction. Sometimes you drop the cards.
Yeah.
Sometimes you give them to shuffle your gaff deck and they put them all over the floor.
Yeah.
And you've just got to roll with it. And I think
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure for the YouTube videos that are coming in, it's mainly just me fucking up. I've got plenty of footage of that, so I'll leave it in there.
I've got no footage of you performing. Just
It's actually nothing.
Just little movements.
yeah, I've got your feet.
I
for
got my
1 second.
feet. Yeah, my flat feet.
Awesome, yeah. Thanks everyone for watching.
All right.
Yeah, thank you guys.
See
And
you.
have you got one final thing to say
Just
before?
sign off with a word's wisdom. You know, you said to me yesterday, I'm so great at getting the last word in. That's what you said. So what's your
Last two words.
My last 2 words. I feel like you want me to say something.
I don't know, like some sort of slogan or something.
Oh, you just.
Yeah.
Let me think. Let me think what the mind bender got in mind.
Was that meant to be a flick up?
Your brain is completely switched off.
No, I'm here. What the fuck? Did you see it? Yeah, I wanted to do the catch it in the mouth, but can barely do that. I don't know how I got this job, by the way, guys. I suck at magic. But just magic.
It's not here, and it goes into the left pocket. Oh. Well, not my left pocket, but yours. No, sorry. Dyslexic. Your right pocket.
Yes. Let's have a look.
Oh, what?
That's it.